So what did I think of Darren Aronofsky's new film, Caught Stealing? Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to the awards contender. I'm excited to talk to you today about Caught Stealing, which, to be honest, was a movie I didn't have very high expectations for. You know, this film coming out Labor Day weekend. It's not a fall festival movie. It's not coming out in like October, November. Even though you have Oscar-nominated director Darren Aronofsky, you have Oscar-nominated actor Austin Butler in the lead role. And the trailer I thought was pretty good. I just thought because of the release dates, because this was coming out in late August, I was like, oh, this could be pretty weak. You know, maybe at best it's okay, but, you know, nothing to write home about. I am delighted to tell you, like, I was really surprised by Caught Stealing. I very much enjoyed this movie. Is it going to be an Oscar nominee? No. Is it going to be like one of the best films of 2025? Also no. But is it a great night at the movies? Hell yes. I was always entertained throughout the hour and 45 minutes of Caught Stealing. There's very few lulls, the characters are very sharp, the narrative has at least like 3 big surprises along the way I did not see coming, like one in particular where I was like, what? Whoa. This is a no spoiler review. I'm not going to give anything away, especially because this movie is not out yet as of this recording. This is an early review. I caught a sneak preview of it on Saturday nights, and I was like, you know, maybe it'll be good, it'll be okay. But yeah, man, I went into this not thinking it was going to be much, and that was sad to me because I adore Austin Butler. And Darren Aronofsky has directed 2 of my favorite films of the last 25 years, Requiem for a Dream and Black Swan, of course. He's also directed The Wrestler, which is great. He made Mother, which was very divisive, that 2017 film starring Jennifer Lawrence. But you know what? That movie made my top 10 list. I also really liked The Whale, which was another divisive film he made. And so I went into Caught Stealing like, man, if this is a nothing movie, there's nothing to see here. Like, how could this be Darren Aronofsky, right? Almost everything he does is an event. Not everything he has made is great. But like for the most part, Darren Aronofsky makes very good films. And so I was happily relieved 20, 30 minutes into Caught Stealing. I was like, okay, I am in very good hands. The story was immediately captivating, and Austin Butler in the lead role. I do think this might be my favorite performance of his. Even more so than Elvis, which I of course very much liked him in. But for me, Caught Stealing was the first time I really saw like Austin Butler, the movie star, who can like really draw you in from the get-go, make you care about somebody who's like not the most 3-dimensional character in the movies this year, but the film gives you just enough backstory to understand like where he's coming from, why there's been some adversity in his life that has led to this moment, and this absolutely batshit crazy wild ride his character is going to undertake. The screenplay by Charlie Huston, who adapted from his own novel, is pretty inventive, and even though you could argue it's a little bit of a fluffy film, it's not very important, it doesn't give you too much you haven't seen before. It has kind of a Guy Ritchie flair to it. It reminded me of some like chase films, some like wild action films we got at the end of the 90s, early 2000s. It's not like the most original movie you'll see in 2025. I do think the writer Charlie Huston infuses this narrative and these characters with some really interesting quirks and unpredictability all along the way. The movie takes place in 1998, which is the same year that Darren Aronofsky's feature film debut Pi came out. I don't know if that's a coincidence, but I thought of that early in the film. It's 1998, New York City. Our main character is Hank Thompson, who is an ex-baseball player who had kind of a tragedy happen to him and one of his friends. His life has been a little bit adrift ever since. He works at a bar, you know, he's just kind of going through the days without much direction. He has an on and off girlfriend named Yvonne, played by Zoe Kravitz, who is great in this. And like things seem to be fairly normal, like nothing out of the ordinary for Hank. until one day when he goes back to his apartment and a friend of his shows up with a cat saying, I have to go visit my father, like out of town. Can you please take my cat for a few days? And he's like, I guess, okay. I'm not much of a cat person, but sure. And then soon enough, these thugs show up at his door and they demand to know where his friend is, and they just like beat him to a pulp where he has to go to the hospital, and like he's really struggling. And little does he know, this is only the beginning. And that's all I'm going to say. That's in like the first 20-25 minutes. Basically after that, Caught Stealing becomes a thrill ride. A very exciting action film that has some comedy, has drama, a little bit of everything. And if you go with it, if you like Austin Butler as a performer, if you enjoy him, if you like movies that take you on an unpredictable wild ride from beginning to end with very few lulls, very few moments where you're like, okay, we can speed this up. For me, there's like one section, there's one sequence in the third act. The movie does kind of like slow to a halt for about 10 minutes. I was like, okay, I understand why this is here and how it's building up a couple characters. But the narrative up to that point had a really nice pace to it that I felt that section stood out as like, well, does this all need to be here? I'm not sure. But for the most part, Caught Stealing is very entertaining, and I was like grinning all throughout this movie, guys. I wasn't sitting there like, oh, a Labor Day release, you know. This is very much beneath the talent of Austin Butler and Zoe Kravitz and Regina King and Darren Aronofsky. Like, what is this movie? I had so much fun. And like by the second half, I didn't want it to stop. I wanted it to keep going. I enjoyed these characters, this world, you know, the 1998 of it all. Like I was in middle school in 98 and I visited New York City right around then where this film takes place. And so I enjoyed the time period of that, like the late 90s. I thought was really cool. Like whenever they take a phone call or make a call, like the cell phones they have in the movie are just perfect. They look just right for that time period. And there is a messiness to the narrative, like the events that happen in the story. It's not overly slick. It has moments of humor. It has a lot of suspense, partly because of that cat that Hank is looking after. Like the cat in this movie becomes a huge part of the narrative. And like every 5 minutes, you're asking yourself as the audience member, like, where is the cat? Is the cat okay? Like it's constant all throughout the movie. And if there's one spoiler I can give you right now, if you are an animal lover, know that nothing happens to the cats. Don't worry, the cat's gonna be okay. But there are a couple moments where you're like, oh my God, is something gonna happen to that really lovely cat? And it never does. So I will give you that spoiler. Okay, I'll give you that. Something people might criticize this movie for is because it's directed by Darren Aronofsky, because he's made so many important films, you know, very deep dramas going back decades. I know there's going to be some people who are like, this is fun and all, but like, why does Darren Aronofsky need to spend his time making a movie like this? Why isn't he making another The Whale or Black Swan or Mother or something? I would push back on that. I think any filmmaker has the right to switch things up, to do a film they haven't really attempted before. I was thinking while watching Caught Stealing the other nights, I was like, has Darren Aronofsky just made like a fun thrill ride, like an entertaining film for like a Saturday night audience? He never has. Going all the way back to Pi and Requiem for a Dream, everything he has made has been serious, right? Like there's maybe like a touch of humor in some of his movies, like Mother especially, but he's never done a film like Caught Stealing, and I think he has the right to make just a fun romp once in a while. Not everything he makes has to be like super overly dramatic and dark and, you know, an Oscar film. Like he's allowed once in a while to just make an entertaining movie. That's what Caught Stealing is. He directs it very well. It looks great. It is shot beautifully. The action scenes are electric. Like the chase moments are done very well with the camera, with the actors, the pacing, the editing. It's all handled super well. And so it's like, yeah, if Darren Aronofsky wants to make a movie like this, and do it well, then go for it. He did a great job on this movie. He made it a lot of fun, and I, for one, was really pleased to see Darren Aronofsky take a break from the gloom and doom and just make something entertaining for audiences. I thought that was kind of cool. Of course, he's very much helped by Austin Butler in the lead role. I am pleased to report Austin Butler is in virtually every scene of Caught Stealing. It's basically all from his point of view. So he is all over this thing, and boy, does he just ooze charisma every step of the way. He's obviously, a very attractive man. And like Darren Aronofsky seems to know that the way he shoots him in this, like some of the moments where he's shirtless and, coming on to Zoe Kravitz. There's this moment when he's in his underwear, just like walking up and down a stairwell where I was like, okay, movie, you have my attention. He is a beautiful man and a very charismatic, talented actor, and I do think he gives an amazing movie star performance in Caught Stealing. He is a movie star. You just immediately root for him all along the way. His moments of terror when he's crying, you really believe it. You believe that this person who is leading a pretty normal life is suddenly like in the center of this absolute chaos, and he's doing everything he can, moment to moment, to get out of it. He has moments to shine as a physical actor in this movie. There are fight scenes, there's like chase scenes where he's running like down streets of New York City, and it's all believable, all really well done. And throughout all the craziness of this narrative, his character never forgets about the cat. Even when his life is in danger, the cat is still like at the top of his priorities. And that makes his character even more endearing along the way. Now, is Austin Butler giving like an Oscar nomination worthy performance in Caught Stealing? No, it's not going to get any Oscar nominations. I kind of knew that going in, even though I walked out very pleased with this film, like very much enjoying it, because of the nature of the story, how it's basically like a thrill ride of a movie. It's not going to be like an Oscar film, even though Aronofsky is behind the camera. Even though Austin Butler has been nominated before, this movie will like shock me if it gets anything. If it gets something, it'd be in like a technical category maybe. I don't think that's going to happen. Austin Butler, I do think, has given one of the best lead performances I've seen so far this year in this movie. Like what he's required to do from moment to moment, like he's very strong in this. So like if I was an Academy voter, his name would be on a long list for me right now, but we are just days away from the fall festivals and all of the big dramatic movies coming our way, right, over the next few months. So I do think Caught Stealing come January, February will be forgotten, but it shouldn't be. I think it's one of the better films I've seen so far in 2025. And if I could give this movie one Oscar nomination, it would be for Best Casting. The new category, Best Casting. Because going beyond Austin Butler in Caught Stealing, this film has a very exciting, diverse, eclectic group of actors, like playing roles you don't always see them play. Darren Aronofsky films always have, I think, a very impressive ensemble cast, and that is absolutely the case for Caught Stealing. Beyond Austin Butler, you have Zoe Kravitz, who is excellent in this. She and Butler have some amazing chemistry. When they are on screen together, they have this moment early in the film where they undress like across a bedroom from each other and slowly come up close and start kissing, and it is hot, man. Like it's really hot. They have great chemistry. I was happy to see them together in this. Regina King is fantastic. The less you know about like who she's playing in this, the better. I loved Regina King in this movie. One of my favorite performances of hers in a long time. Matt Smith, who plays the friend who leaves the cat, he is great in this, very fun. And you also have Liev Schreiber in this movie. You have Vincent D'Onofrio. Carol Kane is in this. There is a cameo at the very end from an Oscar winner. I'll just say, don't leave when the credits start. Stay in your seat for another minute or so, and you will be treated to an Oscar winner giving a very funny cameo. But I just have to say, the MVP in the supporting ensemble in this film, it's Griffin Dunne. Griffin Dunne is an absolute hoot in Caught Stealing. He's not in a bunch of it, but like the few moments he has, like, oh my god, he is a riot. So yeah, the ensemble in this film, the casting of Caught Stealing, I also really loved. Like, the actors in this, very well chosen. They were all very, very good. You have a narrative that's always exciting and unpredictable all the way to the end. There's even a planting and payoff in the screenplay that, like, in the hands of a different director, might have felt like too melodramatic, like too easy toward the end. And I actually liked it. I was like, oh, that's kind of clever, actually. So yeah, this movie's really fun. Does it amount to a whole lot? No. I can't give it like too high of a score because ultimately, especially compared to I'm sure some movies I'm going to see over the next few weeks at the Toronto Film Festival and after, like, it's not going to be quite at that level. You know, I admired it like for what it was, like a thrill ride. It does its job very well. Is it like one of the great films of the year? No, I'm not going to go that far. But would I happily see Caught Stealing again in the months to come? Sure, I'd be happy to watch this movie again. I thought it was nice for Darren Aronofsky to have this change of pace, you know, to not do something overly dramatic every single time. He is allowed to make a fun, entertaining romp of an action film like Once in a Blue Moon. This is that film for Darren Aronofsky, and he did a fantastic job. And Austin Butler, man, this is maybe my favorite performance of his. He's really great. I very much enjoyed watching the evolution of his character over the nearly 2-hour running time, and to see him be absolutely 100% the face of his own movie and do such an amazing job. I was really, really happy with his performance in this. I can't wait to see what Austin Butler does next. Caught Stealing is not going to be an Oscar film in the months to come, and it might be a movie like a week later, 2 weeks later, you're not really thinking about very much. But in the moment, like if you want to just go watch a very entertaining movie on a Friday night, a Saturday night, Caught Stealing is that film for you. I give this one an 8 out of 10. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below what did you think of Caught Stealing, and I'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.